We're going to start laying down on our backs. Have a strap close by. And we're going to stretch out the back a little bit. So go ahead and give your knees a gentle squeeze into your chest. You might even have to hold on to the backs of the legs. As you know, things are always a little tighter starting out on a Saturday morning. So be nice and gentle. Just kind of rock side to side here. And then go ahead and place your feet down on the mat. Take your feet as wide as the mat. Allow your knees to knock in towards each other. And then just take your arms by your side, palms facing up. Feel the shoulder blades start to get heavy underneath you. Feel that stretch across your heart and chest. Nice deep inhale through the nose. And then open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. A couple more times like that. Smooth, deep inhale, fill up. Let the breath go, sigh it out, ha. One more time like that, deep inhale. Pause at the top, sip in a little more air, and then let the breath go, ha. And then just start to find the rhythm of your ujjayi breath. So that smooth, steady inhale through your nose, full, complete exhale through your nose. Length of the inhale, length of the exhale, really nice and even. Use this breath to help you find space in your body. Use this breath to help you find some ease. So even just laying here in this simple position, are there places that feel tight or are gripping? Can you send the breath to those spots and just soften? Anytime your attention wanders, come back to your breath. Just another moment or two here, just soaking up the quiet. Good, let's inhale, stretch our arms up overhead. So palms facing towards each other, a little wider than shoulders distance apart. Really activate the arms, feel the muscle firm to bone. And then if you'd like, if it's accessible in your shoulders this morning, you can interlace your fingers and then press your palms to face behind you. So that's going to just intensify the stretch. And again, it might not be happening today. That's okay. You can just stay reaching through your fingertips, palms facing in towards each other. Check in with the breath again. Make sure that it's still moving. Good. As you exhale, go ahead and release. Arms come by your side. Heel toe your feet so they're about hips distance apart. And then hug your right knee into your chest. And then just start to make some circles. So they can be big, they can be small, just opening up that hip socket, kind of just noticing how things are feeling. You can switch directions. And then we're going to find our strap here. And we're going to do our little supine Utthita Hastasana Padangusthasana series. So hand to foot pose. This is really, really good for lower back stuff. So strap goes over the sole of the foot, a little bit below the bridge, slightly above the arch. And then you're going to take one strap in each hand. And you come down as far as you need to so that you can have both shoulder blades pressing into the mat. And then you can gently flex that foot. You might find that even here with the strap, you need a little bend in your knee. Let's all just take our right thumb into that right hip crease, gently press forward. So it's like you're trying to find a little space. Good, and then hold on to that sensation. So if you're getting a good stretch here, if you're feeling that in that lower right back area, stay here like this. If you'd like to intensify a little bit, start to extend your left leg to straight on the mat. So it's really active. Center of the heel presses into the floor. Your toes point up towards the ceiling. Breath smooth and steady. And then we're going to start to extend this right leg off to the side. We're going to try to keep drawing that right hip forward as we do that. So you can take your left hand on top of your left thigh just to remind that leg to stay really active. And then start to extend off to the right here. Keep the breath smooth and steady. You might not have to go very far. And then just start to pay attention to where you're getting some sensation. So a lot of us will feel this in the groin. You might be feeling it in the calf. You could even be feeling it in the glute a little bit. Keep that breath moving, even though this can be really intense. And then we're going to inhale up to center. Take both straps into your left hand. Bring your right arm out in a T shape. So palm faces up. Your shoulder blade is pressing down into the mat. And we want to hold on to that as we start to exhale. Extend right leg to the left. So you can see that my right hip plate is popping up. Yours may or may not. This in particular is really good for the lower back. It's good for sciatic kind of things, but it can be quite intense. So some of us with a little deeper twist are going to go a little further. Our hips are going to stack on top of each other. Some of us are just going to go like an inch or two, and that's absolutely fine. You might start to gaze out over your right fingertips. So just intensify the twist, the stretch in your neck. Welcome, Susie. Even here, can you draw that right hip crease forward? So finding a little more space, that's just going to intensify the stretch a little bit. Good, go ahead and inhale, come back up to center. And then keeping the back side of your body pressing evenly, we're going to bring our right big toe towards our left shoulder head. So we're kind of just going diagonal and back. And this one packs a really big punch. So I'm getting a nice stretch in the glute, the hamstring, even I'm feeling it a little bit, the outer hip. So again, movement doesn't have to be very big. Keep breathing. Really good stretch for lower back stuff. This asymmetric stretching, again, really good for sciatica. All right, come back to center. Go ahead and bend a left knee. If you extended it straight, just release the strap from that right foot and then hug your left knee in. Just start to make some gentle circles here. Right away, just observing how this side might feel different in your body. What's going on here? You can switch directions. Good, and then we're gonna find our strap. Take it over the sole of that left foot. So again, a little bit below the bridge, slightly above the arch. So you're kind of in the top third of your foot. One strap in each hand, come down as far as you need to. Also okay if you have a little bend in that left knee, if you're a little tighter in the hamstrings, the lower back. Let's take left thumb into that left hip crease, just manually press forward. So you're trying to find that sense of space and lengthening in the lower left side of your waist. Breath smooth and steady, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. And then if you'd like, maybe play with extending your right leg to straight. If you go there and it just feels too intense, bend the knee again. Otherwise, you're making sure that leg is really active and engaged. Toes point up towards the ceiling, inner right thigh releases down. And then we start to take the left leg off to the side so you can just place your right hand on top of that right thigh, reminding that leg to stay active. We want to keep this right hip plate pressing down. This side might feel really different. And again, you don't have to go very far at all. So you'll know when you've hit your peak. And it might be the tiniest movement, but if you're getting a stretch, that's where you need to be. A few more good breaths here on this side. Good. Come up to center. And then both straps come into your right hand, left arm comes out in a T shape, palm faces up. Start to twist in any amount. So maybe that left hip starts to stack on top of your right hip. Maybe you're not there. The important thing is to keep your left shoulder blade pressing down into the mat. So you're feeling that openness across your heart and chest, that release of the left ribs down towards the floor. And then if you would like to gaze out over your left fingertips here, get into the right side of the neck a little more, you can move in that direction. It's early, so that might not feel good. You can also just be gazing straight up. Always lots of options. Good. And then we're going to inhale, come on up, and then that tiny movement. So left toe, big toe is going to come towards your right shoulder head. Oof. Keep breathing. Notice if there's any tension in your face and jaw. Soften there. And just kind of try to send your exhale to the places where you're getting a lot of sensation. Just visualize it creating some space and some ease. Couple more breaths. All right, come back to center. Release the strap from your foot. Give the knees a squeeze in. And then let's begin to roll forward and up on this back on the spine. If it feels okay, if that's not in the cards today, you just roll off to one side or the other. And we come up to our tabletop. Right away, just moving into some cat-cow, which should feel really nice after all of that spinal work. So land with your shoulders over your wrists, knees underneath your hips. As you inhale, arch, chest comes forward through the gates of the shoulders. As you exhale, you press the mat away. Keep the arms really firm and straight. Let the neck release. Inhaling, arching. Good. Exhale, round in. Maybe you close your eyes here. And you just begin to move with your breath. So at a pace that feels really organic to you this morning. You're not too fast. You're not too slow. Good, so we're gonna inhale back to neutral spine, and then we're just gonna move opposite leg and arm, also that asymmetric stabilization in the core, which is really great for the back. So as you inhale, right leg, left arm, lift and extend, squeeze the outer hips in, exhale, release. Gaze is slightly ahead of your fingertips, inhale, left leg, right arm, exhale, release. So just continue like this, so little bird dog. I'm gonna do several rounds to each side, move nice and slow. Engage your belly here, feel it pull in and up. Breath smooth and steady. Good, so finish up. So you'll end on right arm, left leg. Come back to your tabletop. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. I'm gonna back up here on my mat. Shift shoulders over your wrists, nice and slow, elbows squeeze in. We're gonna take the count of 5 to land on our belly. Keep the shoulder heads lifting, gaze forward. 2 and 1. All right, reaching your arms back by your side. So palms face in. Go ahead and lower to your forehead. Firm down into the feet. You're pressing into all 10 toenails. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up. As you exhale, you lower. Inhale, lengthen forward and up. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale up here, and let's hold here. Maybe see if you can lift your arms a little bit higher, but keep the shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other. So imagine that you're holding like a pencil in the center of your back. Don't let it fall. Good. Exhale, lower down. Bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. So same basic setup, but just moving into our Bhujangasana. So elbows continue to squeeze in, shoulder heads continue to lift. The legs are still nice and active, so they're doing the same thing. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, coiling up. Doesn't have to be a big lift. You're not pressing into your hands to find this. Exhale, lower down. Few more, just moving with your breath like that. Warming up the spine, strengthening the muscles in our back. And then the next time you come up, hold here. All right, and then we're just gonna exhale, gaze out over our right shoulder, keep squeezing that elbow in. It's just getting a little stretch into the neck, and then maybe even tuck your chin a little bit and just see if that changes where you get the sensation. Lift your chin, exhale to center. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, gaze out over the left shoulder. Or move in that direction. Just stop at the place where you feel a little sensation. Maybe start to tuck the chin a little bit. See how that shifts where you're feeling things. Good. Lift your chin. Exhale to center. Take an inhale here. And then exhale. Press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. Shift your hips up towards the ceiling. Just make your way into your first downward facing dog, probably of the weekend, probably of the day. So do anything that feels good here. Pedal back and forth in your feet. You can shift hips side to side. I sometimes like to flip onto the top of one foot, kind of stretch out the front of the leg, and then the other. When you've got all the wiggles out, you come to a place of stillness. So landing with your feet hips distance apart, second and third toe, point forward. You're just gazing between your feet. So your ears are in line with your biceps, your inner arms. Fingers are pressing, spreading. And as you press there into all 10 knuckles, notice how it turns on the arms. So the inner arm starts to firm towards the outer arm. And then nice and easy here, let's start to walk our hands back to meet our feet. As you inhale, hands on shins or thighs, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen, so really press into your thighs or shins, gaze forward. I got you, Neil. As you exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So Neil just took off a layer of clothes, which I'm amazed because him and Mata have had this home at about 77 degrees and they're complaining that they're cold all the time. So the yoga is working. Let's walk to the top of our mat. And we're gonna move into some sun salutes. All right, so nice and easy as you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, lengthening forward into your Ardha Uttanasana. Beautiful work. As you exhale, you fold back in. Good. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach, extended mountain pose. Exhale into your deep forward fold. Inhale, lengthen into your half forward fold. Exhale back in to your full forward fold. Press down into your feet. Feel the arches engage and lift. Legs are really active as you rise all the way up. Exhaling, hands come together at your heart. 3 more of these, moving with your breath. Maybe close your eyes. Let these feel so good. So you're trying to find space and a sense of gracefulness in your body, a sense of ease. You're finding this idea of rhythm and flow. So it starts to feel like a moving meditation. And start to build a little heat doing these sun salutes. Good. Just pausing in your mountain pose with palms together at your heart. When you're done with that 3rd round, checking in, noticing how you feel. All right. And then if you do have a couple of blocks, grab them. You may or may not need them. We're going to do another little stretch that's really great for the lower back. You're going to feel this in hamstrings, outer hips. So blocks might be nice. You may or may not need them, but just go ahead and have them set up in front of you. And from our mountain pose, we are going to cross our right ankle, in front of the left ankle. You might kick the blocks like I did. From here, we're going to start to fold in. Now you might have to bend your knees a little bit. So as you fold in, blocks are great because they just bring the floor a little closer to you. They could be pretty high. So you might be kind of doing a half forward fold here. And I'm feeling this in the lower back, outer hips, outer glute areas, especially. I'm actually getting it on both sides today, but you're probably especially feeling it on this right side. So keep that breath smooth and steady. Some of us are going to stay here like this if there's a lot of sensation. A few of us are going to start to walk our hands off to the right. So finding a little twist, you can take the blocks along with you. So it's going to target that lower left back, that glute and hamstring attachment. Try to continue to press evenly into your feet here. Good. If you walked your hands off to the right, go ahead and walk back to center. And then let's all inhale halfway up. You might already be there. Exhale, hands come to your hips, elbows squeeze in. Press into your feet as you inhale, lift up. Nice. Uncross that right ankle. We'll take that to the second side. So left ankle crosses in front, and even this can feel a little precarious, finding your balance. You might need a little bend in your knees. All right. As we exhale, we hinge forward, fold in. Ooh, and I'm feeling it big time. This outer right hip. So use blocks if you need. You might be folding in pretty deep if you're a little more flexible in the backs of your legs. You're observing how the sensations are different in this side. Keeping that breath smooth and steady. And then go ahead and walk your hands off to the left if you'd like to take the twist. Maybe you're just staying in the forward fold. Notice if you're holding your neck, see if you can let it release into the forward fold. These look good. Okay, so we walk back to center. If you took that variation, inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. It's like a cross-legged Ardha Uttanasana. Hands come to hips, elbows squeeze in with a flat back. Inhale, press on up. Whew, uncrossed here. And just keep the blocks handy. So we're gonna start to flow a little bit here as you inhale, arms reach out and up. Good, and then let's bring our right fingertips to left wrist. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale up to center. Exhale, side bend left. Nice. Inhale up. As you exhale, gracefully fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So exhale, step that left foot way back, land on your left knee. And then we're just gonna flow here a little bit into the hip flexor stretch and then into the hamstring stretch. You might need to pad up that back knee. So blocks are really nice here. They bring the floor closer. As we exhale, we're sinking in, letting this left hip flexor melt down towards the floor. As you inhale, you straighten that right leg, so come into your half splits. And then we're just gonna continue like this. So just kind of warming this action up. We'll eventually hold. Movement does not have to be big at all. And just kind of finding a little vinyasa here to find some space. Let's do a few more. Good. So the next time you're forward, just stay there. Let that left hip flexor melt down a little more. Maybe if you're a little more flexible, you can slide that left knee back a little bit. Are you breathing? Big, big muscle groups being stretched here. So it can kind of catch our breath sometimes. Use the breath to help you be in these intense poses. All right, we're gonna start to come on back. So if you're tight in your hamstrings, you might be pretty upright. You could even hold on to a piece of wall. You might have the blocks with you. If you're a little more flexible, keep this length in your upper spine and your back, but maybe walk your hands forward, maybe flex those right toes towards the ceiling a little more. And then as you're doing that too, this right hip is drawing back as left hip goes forward. So both hip bones are facing forward. Keep breathing. Little bend in that right knee is always okay. Nice work, Susie. All right, so from here, we come on forward. We're gonna find a little twist. So we're gonna root down into our left palm. Your hand might be on a block. Keep pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. Start to spin left ribs open to the right. Keep squeezing your right knee in and then extend that right arm up. So shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Make sure that your shoulders aren't up in your ears. Your gaze could be down, forward, or up. And kind of put your brain in your lowermost left rib. Really twist from that place. Good, one more deep inhale. As you exhale, you unwind. So let's curl our left toes under. All right. From here, we're gonna just step back to our downward facing dog. We're gonna inhale, lift our left leg up. Exhale, step that foot through, land on your right knee. You might have to pick the foot up and move it. And then again, we just find this little flow here. So several rounds. Side might feel different. Exhaling, you're melting this right hip flexor down towards the floor. And then inhale, you straighten that front leg any amount. This might be the tiniest movement in your body. And this can feel really challenging, even balance-wise. How are things feeling different on this left side for you? Couple more rounds. All right, so the next time you're in that hip flexor stretch, just stay here. Maybe slide your right knee back a little bit. Maybe lower the blocks a level if that's possible at this point. Maybe it's not, that's fine too. Sending your exhale to the top of that right thigh. Good, and then we're gonna pull back into our half splits. So maybe take the blocks along with you. Good, left hip pulls back or right hip pulls forward. Wherever you're at, you're lengthening through the sides of your waist. If you are a little more flexible and open, you might start to forward fold any amount, walking your hands forward. Keep a little openness across your heart and chest. Think cobra pose in your upper body. Right, inhale, rock on up, and we find our twist. So rooting down into your right palm, maybe hand is on a block. Press to the inner edge of your left foot. Keep squeezing that knee in as you wrap from that lowermost right rib to the left shoulder blade, stacking on top of each other. Maybe gazing up, you might be looking forward, so you just find the place that feels good in your neck. It's a little harder to fill up on the inhale here, so bring your attention there. Try to find that expansion. Good. As you exhale, you unwind. Curl your right toes under, and then step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest extends. Exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we're just gonna flow through our second side here. As you inhale, arms reach. Left fingertips, right wrist. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale to center. Good, switch sides, side bend right. Inhaling up. As you exhale, fold in, let your neck lengthen and release. Inhale, chest extends forward. So exhale, step that left foot back. Let's keep the toes curled under this time. So coming into our full crescent pose. Good. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. We're gonna pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tight rope. Keep your left leg really strong here. Inhale, rise up into your crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we have our blocks again at the top of the mat. So standing in your Tadasana pose, we're gonna get into the hamstrings a little more here, the standing version of this. So we're gonna keep our right leg forward. You're gonna step your left foot back. And you want to be on train tracks here. You're gonna spin into the back edge of that left foot so those toes are pointing towards the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Hands on hips, draw this right hip back, left hip forward. Hold on to that, feel your lower belly pull in and up. As you exhale, start to hinge forward. And you're gonna start to feel this in that right glute, hamstring. Maybe you grab your blocks here. So again, just bringing the floor a little closer. If this is easier for you, fingertips can be resting on the floor. You could even walk your fingertips back towards that back leg. Keep drawing right hip back, left hip forward. So there's a scissoring action happening in your inner thighs. If this is super, super intense, you take a little bend in that right knee. Good, couple more breaths. All right, so let's try this transition. As you inhale, chest extends forward. So maybe hands on blocks. So we're gonna come into that, the little asymmetric stretch that we did earlier. So you're gonna exhale, take your left ankle behind your right. So we've already been here, and then forward fold again. So right ankle is in front. And then again, if you want to come into that twist here, walk your hands off to the right, maybe taking your blocks with you. You could just be folding forward. So hopefully this is feeling marginally easier the second time around. Sometimes it's nice to attack the same pose twice. Just notice how things shift as we begin to open up. And if you walked your hands off to the right, come back to center. Inhale, chest extends halfway forward. Bring your elbows, or not your elbows, your hands to your hips, elbows squeeze in with a flat back. Press into your feet, come on up. So uncross that right foot, find your Tadasana. So feet, hips distance apart. This time we keep the left foot forward. Step the right foot back. So a little shorter than our stance for a warrior one or a crescent pose, but still fairly generous. Bring your hands to your hips. Just notice that both hips are facing forward. So left hip back, right hip forward. Good. And then as you exhale, start to hinge forward. Keep drawing that left hip back, folding in. So maybe you're just halfway down, hands on blocks. Maybe you fold in a little deeper if that is accessible in your hamstrings, lower back area. They're all good places to be as long as you're feeling a stretch in your body. You're doing it right. How does this side feel different than the other side? This is definitely one of those poses that's kind of hard to love. You either do or you don't. So pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. Are you gripping your neck? See if you can just let it relax, especially if you're a little deeper into the forward fold. All right, so as we inhale, we're gonna come up halfway and we're gonna step forward. We're gonna bring that right ankle behind the left. Oof, so we feel that in the outer right hip again as we start to fold in any amount here. Hopefully it's feeling, again, marginally easier. And maybe it's not, that's also okay. Some days it just doesn't happen. If you want to walk your hands off to the left, just intensify the stretch. You can go there. Good work. Walk back to center if you walked off to the left. Inhale, chest lengthens forward. Exhale, hands to hips, elbows squeeze in. And then inhale, press into your feet. Come on up, nice, uncross. Let's come onto our backs here, do a little back bending. Have a block handy, we'll come into a restorative version eventually. So landing on your mat, arms by your side, feet hips distance apart. So as you're laying here, on the inhale, just notice how there is this natural curve in your lumbar. There's a little bit of an arch. I want you to start to lose that as you exhale. So you direct your tailbone forward so much so that you start to press into your feet, lift your hips up. Good. Inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. As you exhale, release arms by your side. Inhale, lower hips down. Feel that natural curve. And then exhale, lose the curve as you direct your tailbone forward, squeeze outer hips. They begin to lift. Inhale, stretching arms up overhead. Exhale, release your arms by the sides. Inhale, release hips down. Couple more rounds like that. So exhale, it's like you're coiling up. Inhale, stretching arms up overhead. Exhale, keep hips lifted as you release your arms back by your side. Inhale, roll down one vertebra at a time. Feel that natural arch in your lumbar. And then exhale, start to flatten that curve out. Press into your feet, lift hips. Inhale, reaching arms up overhead. Exhale, release arms by your side. Inhale, lower down. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to come into a hold this time. So let's all set up our robot arms. So you're going to bend at the elbow, fingertips point up towards the ceiling. As we come into this, you're really going to be able to press into this upper arm and snuggle those shoulders underneath. So you'll get that stretch and openness across your heart and chest. All right, so let's do that kind of same idea. As you inhale, notice that natural curve that's happening in your spine. As you exhale, start to direct tailbone forward and then lift your hips up. And walk your shoulders in a little bit. And then really fire up the upper arm. So you're pressing there. And you're just pressing to the center of the back of your head. You're gazing up. Observe, put your brain down in your feet. Have you started to roll to the outer edges of your feet? So make sure that you're pressing evenly. You're feeling your arches lift and engage. Keep directing your tailbone forward. Feel the outer hips squeezing in and support a little bit. Really breathe into the top of your chest. So feel that expansion on the inhale. Good. As we exhale, we lower on down. Go ahead and find your block. And we're going to come into our supported bridge pose. So you can play with any height that you want. If you have a couple of blocks and you have a pretty big back bend, sometimes it can be nice to stack the blocks on top of each other so that feels really stable. So all good options. So we're going to inhale, press into our feet, slide the block underneath. You could always use a cushion or a blanket or some books. The tendency sometimes is to get this block too high on the spine, so it comes into the lumbar spine and it feels really uncomfortable. So if anything, move that block closer to your heels. There'll be some sensation, but it should feel pretty relaxing to be here. All right. And even though this is more of a restorative version of this pose, still make sure that you're pressing down into your shoulder blades. You're pressing evenly into your feet. You're fighting that directionality of your tailbone forward. And then key into that sound of your breath. At this stage of the game, you can start to stretch it out and slow it down a little bit. The inhale's getting a little longer. And the exhale's getting a little longer. Got another 7 or 8 good breaths here. If you're finding that it's the thoughts are kicking up as you come into this static pose with this long hold, sometimes counting the breath can give you a little something to chew on to keep you focused. Good. On your next inhale, press into your feet. Lift your hips up. And then as you exhale, just release down. Nice and easy. Hug the knees in. It might not be very deep. So just start to release out that lower back. Rock and roll a little bit from side to side. And then place your feet back down. So you're going to come into that bridge pose again, and we're going to do our reclining pigeon pose here. So we're going to take our right ankle, cross it above the left knee, flex that foot, and then draw that right knee forward. You can even use your right hand pressing into that thigh to help you find that space. We're going to take several breaths here like this before we go any further. So again, a nice little stretch, obviously really good for the hips, but also really nice for the lower back. If you're getting lots of sensation here, you stay exactly like this. If you feel like you can go a little deeper, maybe you start to bend your left knee into your chest. You've got this triangle you've made with that right leg. So reach your right hand through, interlacing fingers either around your left thigh, maybe left shin, if your arms are long enough, if there's enough flexibility. And then the same thing applies. Maybe you take that right elbow into your right thigh, gently press forward, so just intensifying the stretch a little bit. So even here, there's so many ways that we can modify this. So we can up the ante, we can kind of put the brakes on a little bit if we need to. So your job is to really be mindful about the sensations that you're getting, and to observe if you need more, if you need less, and then move in that direction. If your attention has wandered, come back to your breath. Good, nice deep inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and release. So let's stay here. Let's do our little funky twist here. So bring your arms out in a T shape. You're going to start to roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Your right foot is going to stamp down into the floor. So this right hip plate is going to lift up off the mat. Maybe you're gazing out over your right fingers. And even here, can you continue to direct that right thigh forward so you're finding a little space? That's going to intensify the stretch in that lower right back. Keep breathing here. Good. Inhale up to center. Uncross that right ankle. Bring your arms back by your side, then left ankle crosses above your right knee. Flex the foot so that engages muscles around the knee. So we don't ever want any sensation there. And then you can take your left hand into that left thigh, gently pull forward. So switching to this left side, noticing how this hip stretch feels. How is it different than the right side? Send your exhale to the places where you're getting lots of sensation. And then you are welcome to stay here like this if this is a good place to be. If you want to go a little further, bend your right knee into your chest, left hand comes through that triangle, fingertips interlace either around that right thigh or right shin. And then maybe you wedge your left elbow into that thigh again. So just kind of manually manipulating your body to get a little more hip stretch. Just say too, if you're tighter in the upper body or tighter in the hips, sometimes the head starts to lift up. So you could always slide a block or a blanket underneath your head if that's you. A few more good breaths. Good. As you exhale, go ahead and release that right shin. If you were there, bring your arms out in a T shape, feel the shoulder blades heavy. And then as you exhale, start to roll to the outer edge of that right foot, stamping the left foot down into the floor. So that left hip plate is lifting up a little bit. You're either gazing straight up or rolling onto your left cheek. Good. Inhale, come up to center. And we did it. We made it to Shavasana. So give the knees one final squeeze in and then make your way into your Shavasana. So we did a lot of stuff to focus on the lower back today. So you might be able to just come into a classic Shavasana. That being said, for a lot of us, this kind of tugs at the lower back. So if that's you, either slide something underneath your knees or bend your knees, take your feet wide, and then just allow your knees to knock in. So all good places to be. Maybe kind of crawl those shoulder blades underneath you so you have a little bit of that bridge pose feeling in your upper body. And then take one more deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. And then completely let go here, completely relax, completely surrender. You don't have to manage anything. You let your body relax. You let your breath find its own natural rhythm. Just soak up these final quiet moments. Good. Let your next inhale be deeper. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And start to wiggle fingers and toes. Bring a little gentle movement back to your body. Maybe stretch up overhead. And staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other, just finding the fetal position. And then you're going to use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So hopefully you feel really good here. Feels like you're sitting with a sense of ease, but also strength and length and height. Observe the steadiness of your breath, the depth of your breath, the richness of your breath. And then finally, just check in with your headspace. So hopefully there is a sense of calm and quiet and focus, maybe even a little sense of joy. Just promise yourself that you're going to carry that feeling with you into the rest of the day ahead, the rest of the weekend ahead. And bring your palms together, your heart. And just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you.